In producing a nucleus, we are actually producing a small colony of bees without a queen. The queen can be introduced in the form of a newly mated queen, or the nucleus can be left with a frame of eggs to produce their own. The effect on the parent colony is a great reduction of congestion in the brood area, which will have an effect on the swarming impulse. The nucleus can be made up of any size, from 2, 3, 4 or 5 frames. We first of all remove the supers from the parent colony. We then remove the queen excluder, which may be stuck down with propolis, a sticky residue which the bees collect from trees and shrubs to stick anything that moves within their hive. We then remove the dummy board, which is simply a false wall to the brood chamber. The first thing we need to do is to find the queen. We do not want the queen ending up in the nucleus, so it's important to find her and isolate her. Once found, she can be placed into a matchbox with a few worker bees, or what I find easier is to put the entire frame with the queen on it into a separate nucleus box. It's most important to know where she is throughout the process of making a nucleus. It takes time sometimes to locate the queen. She's seldom on the first frame one takes out. But once she has been located, the frame can then be isolated into a box, a nucleus box, some device which will hold her. In this instance, we are taking a 4-frame nucleus and asking the bees to produce their own queen. So the first thing that we need is a frame of eggs, or very young larvae, less than 3 days old. And from this, the worker bees can produce their new queen. The next frame that we need is a frame containing mostly sealed brood. Ideally, sealed brood which is about to emerge. This emerging brood will swell the numbers within this small colony. If the nucleus is being kept in the same apiary, then when the flying bees come out of the nucleus, because they've been used to returning to the parent colony, that is where they'll go. So the nucleus will be left devoid of any flying bees for a few days until the younger bees begin to fly. So there will be no income coming into this nucleus. There will be no nectar coming in, no pollen. So they will need 2 frames containing honey and pollen. The frame containing eggs is put right in the center of the nucleus box. Next to it is put the frame containing the sealed brood, and each side of these 2 frames is put the frames of food. Now when the flying bees return to the parent colony, it's going to weaken the nucleus even further. So we need to shake in some young bees which are not going to fly and which will stay in the nucleus. So if we select a frame containing brood, there will be a lot of young worker bees on there, and if this is shaken into the nucleus, they will stay, and it will ensure a reasonably strong nucleus. Having done this, we can then push the frames up to one side of the nucleus box, thereby ensuring that the space remains as it should be. We can then put a dummy board into the open side and put on our crown board. This is followed by the roof, and the nucleus is then complete. Because it has no income coming in, it will probably need feeding to help it to build out new comb and to build queen cells. Returning to the old colony, which is now devoid of 4 frames, we must replace these frames and of course replace the frame with the queen on it. The frame with the queen on it goes back into the center of the brood nest. The frames are then pushed up together, and the 4 new frames containing either drawn comb or foundation are placed on the outer edge. The dummy board is then replaced and the whole thing pushed up together tightly to maintain the correct bee space. The queen excluder then goes back on, being very careful not to crush any bees. And that is then followed with the supers. This colony will now have a half-empty brood chamber, so bags of room for the queen to lay. They are almost in a condition of having swarmed, so they are unlikely to want to raise queen cells.